Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do a lot of regular car reviews, full-length reviews on all the new models that come out. And in the middle, we have this section called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. It was so popular, we decided to make a standalone video. So here we are at episode 11.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Episode 11.
Let's get into it.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Love your car reviews. Thank you. Which Subaru Ascent trim would you go with? We have 3 kiddos and wanted bench seats, and the Onyx seems to have almost all the features we need. We like the Ascent a lot, don't we?
Well,
for
space. I think the great thing about the Ascent is if you're looking for a large, it doesn't look large on the outside.
No.
It has a lot of space on the inside, and it's one of the least expensive 3-row crossovers you can get. So bench seat is a big deal. We've been on car companies about this. Why do you, when you buy certain trims, get rid of the bench seat? So where are we at with that?
Well, and that's the great thing about the Ascent is that there are a variety of trims that offer captain's chairs and bench seats. Now, the Onyx trim does not offer a bench seat. That is one trim that you picked. It's actually only a 7-passenger vehicle. So we took a look at some others for you. The Limited trim offers the bench seat and captain's chair. So obviously the one that you want is the bench seat. And then I would compare it to one of the lower trims, the Touring, which is one up from the base model. That has a bench seat. No captain's chairs on that because it is a lower trim. The difference in price between the two is $5,400 Canadian.
To go from the Touring to the Limited.
To go from the Touring to the Limited.
Yeah.
And the Limited is just one below the top trim. So it comes obviously with more features, but let me tell you something about the Touring trim. If you just want something that has some features,
cheap and cheerful,
that's going to take your 3 kids and everybody's going to be comfortable in the vehicle, you get the larger 11.6-inch touchscreen. You don't get navigation with it.
And wireless, you got your phone.
Yeah, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You get 8-way power driver seat versus 12 on the higher trim. 2-way lumbar support versus 4 on the higher trim. What you don't get on that lower trim is things like driver's seat memory, right? Which might be a big deal, and a power passenger seat, as well as the Harman Kardon sound system. But maybe that $5,400 difference is enough to sway you.
So a couple of things. You want to know how much inflation is hitting car prices? I remember I went to the Ascent launch, and off the top of my head, it was like 36 grand.
I think so.
So now the base model is 41. So you see the prices have gone up. And the other thing is, Andrea, when they give us a car to videotape, they never give us the one with the bench seat. So I know we're talking about bench seats, but of course they didn't give us the one with the bench seat.
No.
So use your imagination.
Hi there, you guys are the best reviewers out there. I love this. All these compliments.
You're not going to get an argument from us.
What do you think of an EV long term? Is it worth buying or is it better to lease? With maintenance, you can easily keep a good ICE car for years. Does it apply to an EV?
Well, I think at this stage, because I always look at the movement towards full electrification for everybody is 100 steps, right? And we're probably around the 7th or 8th step of that 100 steps.
Yeah.
So we got a long way to go. There's going to be a lot of advancements in electric cars, not just around batteries, but just generally. And the thing is, you're going to have a dated vehicle, right? So I'm a big fan of leasing for an electric car, and then you can decide after the 3 or 4 years whether you want to keep it or maybe get the updated model. That's my thought.
Yeah.
But the point is, with an EV, there's not as much to fix on them, so they can last a long time too.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with an EV is going to be range, right? Different sizes of batteries. They might come out with smaller batteries, more range, more horsepower. But I think that you need to buy an EV based on what you need today, what your driving needs are. You may be someone who never needs that extra range. EVs, my goodness, are fast. Like even one that has 225 horsepower versus one with 320. My gosh, they are fast. They're so different from gas models. Some people don't enjoy leasing because they feel like their money is going out the door, especially if they give the vehicle back. But I think with an EV, if you feel more comfortable because they're all new, leasing is a great option. When will you review the 2024 Crosstrek 2.5?
The Crosstrek, We're packed and ready to go.
We are.
It's actually coming up this coming week. We're going to be driving. We don't often get to drive to launch events.
No.
It's in Kelowna. We decided to take our sled for a road trip. It needs it. And get out on the highway and let it exercise. And we're going to be up in Kelowna.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the video out shortly after that.
Yeah, I really look forward to driving it. And I'm sure Subaru will have an off-road
For sure.
drive for us so we can see how it is off-road.
One thing, you want to watch that video, and Andrea loves to get into all the specs, but the thing is, this is one product that is really different north and south of the border.
Yeah.
Even the external look of the car is different. So the US gets different packaging, even a slightly different look with more accents on the car. In Canada, we don't. So you're going to watch for that.
And also, the Crosstrek in Canada is still made in Japan, and one engine option in the US is made in the US and the other in Japan. So we're going to go through it all in our review, so make sure you catch it. Did Mazda outsource its new inline-six turbo CX90? How many times have we heard this about the inline-six? Or is it an in-house product? Because we all know who makes a great inline-six engine, right? BMW.
Oh, I was going to say Chevy. Now, if you know anything about engines, those legendary inline sixes from the 60s, I joke around, but no, this is nothing to do with anybody else.
No, this is a Mazda inline-six. It's brand new. And it is not a BMW inline-six, is it?
Interestingly, BMW were the ones that stuck with inline six. Everybody else abandoned it. I mean, I joke around about the Chevrolet, but it's true. Those inline sixes lasted forever. The slant six went away from Dodge. Even Mercedes-Benz abandoned it. And now they've all come back. So the inline six is even back at General Motors. They have their inline six diesel. So it's great technology because it makes a very nicely balanced engine. And that's one of the reasons why it's popular.
In your opinion, what is the best hybrid non-luxury sedan that you can buy right now? Well, we just drove the brand new Honda Accord
Andrea put this one in because
hybrid.
she loves this car.
Well, it's not really necessarily about the Honda Accord hybrid. I think Honda did a great job on it. I know people say it looks boring, but
Andrea,
I'm talking about...
It looks boring.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the way it handles and drives for a hybrid. Although somebody did go and test drive it, and they said, man, it's so boring. And I said, it's a hybrid. Like, what do you want from a hybrid? It's not a BMW. If you want something super dynamic, then you got to look elsewhere besides a hybrid. Anyway, right now for me, I would say that that one is number one, but there is a new Camry coming and a new Sonata coming. So we have to wait and see, but it is the quietest out of those
Right
ones.
now it is.
Yeah.
One thing you have to pay attention to in the auto industry is when you see one main car like an Accord get changed, that means the whole family or class of vehicles, everybody's going to do some kind of update. With one brand, it might just be a facelift. With another brand, it might be totally new. In the case of the Camry, that'll be an all-new model. But you see that. We're just using, mid-size sedans right now, but you'll see it in subcompact cars, whatever it is. They all get done relatively at the same time.
I do think that the Camry, because there are so many trims, the fact that it's older, it has held up. And I think that you can get a budget-friendly Camry hybrid, which you can't get on the other models. So I like that about the Camry a lot. I want to buy a Golf R, but the waiting estimated by the dealer is around 18 to 24 months. Can you believe that?
You know what you do? You order it and wait. Because when you get it, you're going to be happy. You have a Golf R parked in front of your house.
Okay, that question, I'm not finished yet.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
More?
You're jumping in. Does it make sense to wait this long? If not, can I go for a Mercedes A35 AMG, or should I go for the GTI as the wait time is less?
Okay. Can I just say, if you can get a GTI now, drive the GTI, and then when your Golf R comes in, trade it in. You're going to get good money for the GTI.
Yeah.
Because the GTI is going to go away, or maybe not the GTI, but the Golf is going to go away and be replaced by a full electric vehicle.
Eventually, the GTIs, I think, is going to be gone too.
Well, it's such an iconic nameplate. They'll have a GTI electrified, but it won't be what you're used to now.
No.
So
with a manual.
With a manual. That's the other thing is if you drive stick, order them with a stick, because these things in the coming years are going to be collectible, guaranteed.
Zach and I were thinking, should we just get one?
I keep on saying, Andrew, let's just get a GTI manual, because
we don't need another car. We have too many cars.
There's no such thing as too many cars.
Too many
Andrea,
cars.
we're in the car business. We should get right below, should we get a GTI manual?
I'm still saving for our Porsche.
We're not getting a Porsche.
A Targa, a Boxster. That's what
GTI.
we're saving for. That's what I say. Love to watch the channel. Thinking to buy a used Ford Explorer 2016 to 2020. May I know any comments of the model? Well, do you want to start? And then I did a little research on the model year. So you go. Say what you have to say.
Okay, so Ford has downsized the engines, right? So they used to be available with a V6, and then they downsized to the Turbo 4. Then they introduced a hybrid, which was your way of getting a V6 again.
Which was weird.
Which is weird. One thing about it is it's actually not it's a well-designed car on the inside. The packaging is pretty good for the seats and the room and all that kind of stuff. I like the look of them. I think they're nice-looking cars. Yeah. But
I mean, I haven't been in a 2016 to 2020 in a while. But
the inside was a bit, or wasn't a bit, it was plastic fantastic.
Yeah.
So you have that to deal with. But as a used car, always do your due diligence and get it checked and make sure it checks out. So what do you have about it?
JD Power for those years has given it an overall score of 78 out of 100, which is not bad, but it's the reliability score, which is 71 out of 100. Where it really shines is in driving experience. People who own it like it. So JD Power gives it an 81 out of 100, which is very high. Some complaints about this model year is visibility. They say that they didn't love the visibility of the vehicle. They found that the seats were hard to fold and maneuver, as well as interior storage. They didn't find it to be great either. So check all those things out. And like Zach says, do your due diligence. Make sure you get it checked out. Any inside scoops on the Mazda CX70? I'm wondering how it will compare to the CX60 of Europe.
Okay, so the CX60 is a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
And the CX70 is going to, the CX70 is going to be a smaller version of the CX90.
That's right.
And I think this is the one that is going to get people really excited, because people are asking us, is the CX90 like a BMW alternative? No, it's a Mazda 3-row SUV. Instead of having a turbo 4-cylinder, it's now got an inline 6. Don't think they've reinvented the wheel here. It's really Mazda Premium, which is what they've done. But the basis of all of that, inline 6, 8-speed automatic, rear bias, all-wheel drive system. You take it out of that big, bulky 3-row SUV, and now you put it in something smaller. Now that should be a lot more fun.
A lot more fun. I'm actually really looking forward to that one. Mazda tells us that it's coming by the end of the year.
Yeah, but they said the CX50 hybrid was coming by the end of last year.
Still not here.
Still not here.
So we're waiting on it. But that's their plan right now. We talked to them at the CX90 launch. Hopefully they'll be on time, right? That's all we can hope for.
And the Japanese, have you ever been on a Japanese train? They're always on time. Always. Better than the Swiss.
How much negotiating power does the consumer currently have in this recovering market? My wife and I are looking at a new Q3. I think you have no buying power, unfortunately. And in some cases, you're lucky to pay MSRP.
It really comes down to the individual dealer and where you live. Like you might have a very Audi strong market where they sell a lot of them, or you might be in an area of the world where they don't sell a lot of Audis and you might be able to get one. They really do have the upper hand right now. There's just not a lot of inventory. Stuff that's coming off the truck is already going into someone's driveway typically. So if you can get it at MSRP, what you should look for, and this is what everybody should be looking for if you're looking for a new car, look for the incentives that are starting to creep in around interest rates.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go to the bank and get a loan for an Audi Q3, your bank's going to charge you 7, 8, 9, maybe 10%. But if Audi's going to buy down that money and offer it to you at 2.9%, take that. That's basically you're getting ahead of the game. So that's where you're going to save some money.
I don't think Audi is. Last I heard was their interest rates were at 9%.
Well,
so
I'm just saying,
maybe it'll change.
Some
overall,
brands are offering like cheap money, especially on full-size trucks.
So one of our viewers, he just bought a Q3. I was going back and forth with him, Rob Bod.
We used to work with Rob in radio.
We did. He's a friend, and he bought it really for his wife. He's not sure he's going to be able to drive it much. He does have a Model 3. He did pay MSRP for it. So That's pretty good, right? In this crazy market. And he bought the top trim Technic, so congratulations to Rob. What do you see?
Actually, congratulations to his wife.
Yeah, well,
She's the one that gets to drive it.
Yeah, she does. So what do you see Toyota's strategy is with the Grand Highlander? Are they making this their star 3-row SUV? From your first look, it seems like it's taking parts from the Highlander and parts from the Sequoia. My concern is about reliability when I'm able to try a Grand Highlander. I wouldn't worry about reliability with Toyota.
No, I think it's going to be pretty good. It's not coming from Sequoia.
No.
It's coming from the RX, right? So you've got to remember one thing is when a car company develops a drivetrain, power plants, and even platforms, they need to share it across more than one vehicle in order to make it financially viable to sell more vehicles. So this is really because they have the new large 3-row Lexus coming. So they're making a downgrade version and they're marketing it as a Toyota. But the drivetrains are going to be shared across both. They'll tweak the hybrid versions more for the Lexus to give it a little bit more power. But on the that's really what you're getting. You're getting a shared platform. So it's not a Sequoia, it's RX technology.
Yeah, and it's going to be much bigger than the Highlander. We already know the overall cargo capacity is bigger than the Volkswagen Atlas, and that is a big vehicle. Really looking forward to driving it. We're going to Hawaii with Toyota to drive the Grand Highlander in May, and we look forward to sharing that review with you. I mean, I think it's a vehicle that Toyota needed because that Highlander in the 3rd row, honestly, it is for small children. So
that's the case with most
I'm
of them,
looking forward to the comfort level of this.
They're mostly all for children.
Toyota 4Runner redesign for 2024 or 2025. Any rumblings?
Well, there's loads of rumblings.
Too many rumblings.
The internet is a flutter with all kinds of speculation, but we're going to have to wait and see. This is one brand, Andrea, that keeps it under the lid. They don't let really much out.
No, they don't tell us anything. And then all of a sudden we get invited on a drive event and we're like, what? Okay. You guys are the experts. In 20 years, what cars do you think will be collectible? My bet is going to be anything with a manual transmission, V8. So whether it's a Porsche, whether it's a Volkswagen, I think that these are kind of ones that you have to pick up. What about the GR Corolla?
GR Corolla, yeah, we talked about that when we drove the Corolla. I think that anything that's unique today is going to be even more collectible in the future. And if people think that internal combustion engines are going away, they're not going away.
No.
And I like Jay Leno's attitude about this. And I kind of agree with him. He says, sure, we're all going towards electrification, but tucked in the corner of the garage is going to be the fun car that you take out on Saturdays and Sundays. And that's going to be the collectible manual transmission, mostly rear-wheel drive, mostly V8s, and some others like a Mustang GT. There's a lot of them around, but you know, that's a car that somebody 20 years from now is going to want to pay good money for.
For sure. Love your channel and your reviews. Thank you. How do you keep your personal vehicles clean? Hand wash at home, wand wash at a gas station, touchless car wash, or another method? And would you get a ceramic coating and other protection? Oh,
well, this is my department.
Totally his department. But I have to tell you something. We just teamed up with Armor All, and we're going to be posting a reel on Instagram. We washed our car. We tried out some of their products, which Zach uses anyway. But we were really impressed with it, weren't we? Like even the foam? The foam one, that was pretty cool.
Okay, so we pick up our cars, our press cars, from people who detail cars every week because they have to get them clean and ready for us to drive. And there's one guy that we deal with. His name is Edward, and he has a great company that looks after us for the most part for most of the cars. And he's hooked me up with all kinds of great things.
So good.
So what I used to do is I used to pull the car around the back of the house and hose it off and wash it by hand with a wash mitt and then chamois it down. This car we're in here has a ceramic coating on it. And so what I've done now is I've migrated from the hose and the hand wash to a power washer with a foam gun, right? A foam cannon. And that's what Armor All sent us as well, which is great because I already used one. And I spray the foam all over the car and I let it sit, and the foam sort of comes down the side. And if it's just a quick wash and the car's not too dirty, I can spray the foam off with the power washer and I can get the car looking really, really nice. So I've simplified my wash, and the ceramic coating does help. And then the other one is, if you're in a pinch, always touchless car wash, not the brushes.
So keep an eye out for our reel. We show all the different products we use. You might find it beneficial. What is your recommendation for cars or SUVs with starting prices under $25,000 US? Oh, there's a slew of cars to choose from. So let's just say, let's do crossovers, because they are a little bit more money.
And that's what people are buying.
That's what they're buying. I mean, you can get so much in the US for under $25,000. Now, keep in mind, that is the base model. If you go up in trims, it's going to be over $25,000. But you've got the Honda HR-V, Toyota Corolla Cross, the Chevrolet Trailblazer, Seltos, Mazda CX30. In the US, you're really fortunate because you can still get vehicles, crossovers, SUVs under $25,000.
Because it's such a big country with different socioeconomic regions, right?
Yeah.
People will have much more money, like if you're out in California, and then you get other areas where they just don't have a lot of money. That's why the US has the stripped down, much less expensive base model cars that we just don't get in Canada.
No, and when we talk to manufacturers, they actually say Canadians don't buy the stripped down version, but in the US, yes, it's a popular choice. Have you had your hands on the 2023 Toyota Crown yet? We have not. That is one that we haven't driven. We just did a first look video of it, but haven't seen it in person.
Andrea got an email.
Yeah.
It's arrived in Vancouver. Be getting it anytime soon.
Yeah,
Stay
so
tuned for that.
we're the first to get it here on the West Coast, so we look forward to sharing it with you. Now that's it. That's a wrap of Questions, Coffee, and Cars, episode number 11. Keep those questions coming. Thank you for all who participated. We had so many questions this time. It was really difficult to choose. So if we missed you this time, I'm sure we will get you next time.
We liked it so much, it went up to 11. Turned it up to 11. No,
and if you're not on Instagram, no worries. Just enjoy this segment that we put out. And Zach does a live show every Sunday, so you can always send in your questions to him.
it goes up to 11. Right below, if you know the movie reference.